Hello YouTube and welcome to episode 8. So in today's video we will be doing an introduction to Medic and a tutorial. I think that I have been making videos far too long, and for whatever reason I haven't been getting any comments, but I think they've been too long and I just kind of ramble on and on for seemingly no reason. So I'm going to try and make sure that I make this video shorter, and I'll do so by breaking the video up into the parts of the medic profession. And in front of us you can see that there's a Rancor, and I think in a previous video I had forgotten the name of the Rancor. Don't know why. It's fairly a significant creature in the Star Wars universe, but I forgot about it. So, this is a Rancor. This is what they look like in game. And if we come over and do an examine on them, this is a regular Rancor, and there are ranks of Rancor. So whoever is the creature handler that owns this pet is probably not a full master yet. So to start off, this, by the way, is the Theed starport, and it's currently raining. Doesn't rain too often over here in Theed, but I guess you have to have some rain every now and then for the grass to be green. So over here we have our medic trainer. If you started as an artisan, which I do recommend you do, then you won't actually have medic in your template when you start your new character. So you can find a medic trainer in just about every player city on every player planet. And no, NPC city on all of these starter planets. I know that sounded wrong. And so they're all over the place. In fact, if we look at a couple methods of locating a trainer, if we bring up the planetary map, which is this button over here, if your tool shelf, I think is what this is called, is horizontal, then it will be the last button. So if we bring up the map and we make sure we're zoomed all the way out, there will be a list of random things over here, and we can actually click on medic, and that will activate these green icons all over the place here. And what these green icons are scout trainers. So let's actually, it shows us waypoints on the map even if they're not active. So right now I am right here, and there's a medic trainer right here, but there's another medic trainer over here to the west of me and another one to the east of me. This one is in a player city. Kadra is an NPC starting city. Karen is another NPC starting city. Moina is an NPC starting city. There are no trainers in Deja Peak. And these two are actually player cities. So whatever planet you're on, you can do this trick, and it will show you right where you are. And if you highlight one of them and right click, you can say activate waypoint, and that'll give you a waypoint for right here. So what do you do when you are first starting? You walk up to your medic trainer, double click, you say I'm interested in learning a skill. If you're not a medic yet, then it will say novice medic. Click on that. It costs you 100 credits, and then you can begin. Let's stop conversing. So then when you open up your skill window, you will have Medic listed in your My Professions. I do recommend that you get Artisan, Brawler, Marksman, Medic, and Scout, regardless of what template it is that you will be working towards. So even if your goal is to become a creature handler with carbines, I'd still recommend getting Scout and Artisan and starting off as an Artisan because of the tools that you get. Now, you can buy the tools off of the bazaar, and they're almost always in stock, so that's not really a big deal. But if you're just starting off the game, you're going to be heavily tapped for money, so you'll be better off starting off with the tools that will get you the necessary resources for Medic. So when we get Novice Medic, we get a schematic for a biological effect controller, a food and chemical crafting tool, which you also get as a Novice Artisan, liquid suspension, small stim pack A, we have a command called Diagnose, command called Heal Damage, a command called Heal Wound, medical forage, 10 damage, and 10 to wound, and we're at the bottom. So the Diagnose here is a command, and if I close this, I hit Control 1, which targets myself, and I use toolbar 3 for my medic. So it's not part of a macro. This is simply the command from the command window. So if we go over here to other diagnoses right here, so you can simply click and drag this up onto a toolbar, and then you'll have the button available to you. So I have myself selected. I click on this, and it's always too small for the actual window. So we can see that Diagnose doesn't tell you what the delta is in their current health to their maximum health or action or mind. What this tells you is the current level of wounds and battle fatigue. So if I bring up my character sheet, you can see that I have 3 wounds to my health, and 2 and 1 and 1. And you would ask, well, what's the goal? What's the reason for being able to do this on yourself? Is simply so that you can get practice on using it. This yields no experience, but it is something that you'll want to have on a toolbar, because when you are healing other people, you want to know what you need to use. So let's go back over here. We talked about Diagnose, Heal Damage, and Heal Wound. We're going to skip that for a moment. Medical Forage. Which I have right over here. I can demonstrate. It is a vastly pointless and useless ability. But every now and then you can luck out and get something useful. So we'll just run over here to these trees. And if you watched my video on Scout, then you will remember that I demonstrated the Forage command. Medical Forage is similar, except what you end up with in the... Okay, so it was a success. And always with this window not being the right size. So I randomly got a liquid suspension. On its own, this is not useful. This is a component that you use in B and higher level stim packs. But, you know, if you have it in your inventory, it doesn't really hurt because you'll be performing crafting. So now back over to here. Below medical forage, we have 10 damage and 10 wound. So if I were to select someone, let's actually run over to the medical cantina. No, that's wrong. Let's run over to the med center. And let's see if there's anybody that I can heal. And I'll show you the difference between tend and heal. Don't mind my dog snoring in the background. Okay, so medical centers on most planets have one large lower floor that's separated in the middle. So there are 2 rooms. And there are only master doctors in the room. So master doctors are usually pretty good about taking care of themselves. Ooh, this is a good one. Let's close this window. Let's click that again. Oh, inconvenient. It would be unwise to help such a patient. That means this doctor is a declared Imperial. Now there are essentially 3 factions in the game. There's Neutral, Imperial, and Rebel. And you can join a side, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you will be performing PvP all of the time, like joining a World of Warcraft PvP server. For each of the factions, not including Neutral, you have On Leave, Combatant, and Special Forces. So if you're on leave, none of the opposing NPCs or opposing players will be able to attack you. If you are a combatant, then any enemy NPCs will attack you on sight, but you will not be able to engage in PvP, nor will you be attacked by another player. Oh, this guy's good. Okay, so we have that's 10 damage, so let's start tending wounds. Hey, come back. That was mean. Where was it? Okay, so if you're a faction combatant, you can be attacked by enemy NPCs, but you cannot attack other players, and other players cannot attack you. If you are Special Forces, then enemy NPCs can attack you, and on top of that, any enemy players that are Special Forces can attack you, and you can attack them. But if you come across a enemy player that is a combatant while you are Special Forces, you will not be able to attack the enemy combatant. So, because this guy here is a Imperial combatant, it says that it would be unwise for me to heal him. So, we get this message: it would be unwise to help such a patient. And so if you get that message, you will not be able to heal them Now, if they go on leave, so if that guy were to just go over to the recruiter, he could go on leave and then I wouldn't get that message. So this is the first floor of the med center, and most of the med centers in the major cities are of this style. If we go up to the second floor, you'll see that there is this large empty room, and then there are two hallways on both sides. This leads into an empty room with two people in it. Don't know what they're up to. And then on this side, it leads over to a balcony. So we actually get a pretty decent view of the city here, and that was rubber banding. So over here are some bazaar terminals. I've covered those in a previous video. Over here is the cantina, and over here is the image designer tent. Over here is the bank. And I don't think we'll be able to see it. Okay, well that's not... If I zoom out, where are you going? If I zoom out a bit, you can see that this area here is the crafting alley. So there are public crafting stations scattered about the alleyway. And it has almost every kind of crafting station you would need. And very few people actually come up to the second or third layer, or third level. Let's go up. Now we are on the third level. And it's really quite exciting because look over here, there are stairs. And I have no idea what the designers had in mind when they were designing this, because you almost never see anybody up here. So I have wounds on me, so I can demonstrate. No, I don't. I healed them. Okay, well, when you're out performing combat, or if you die, which is usually related to combat, you will incur wounds. When you die, you get a lot more wounds, and just being in combat, you'll get, 1 or 2 points in a fight, and they won't really add up to much, and they won't really hurt you, but it's always a good idea at the end of your gaming session to remove all of your wounds, remove your mind wounds, and your battle fatigue. So I have the 4 special abilities inside of a macro here that we went over. So we've got heal damage, heal wounds, 10 damage, and 10 wounds. So the difference is, when it comes to damage, you need to be in a camp or a medical facility. So this is a med center, so this is a medical facility. A camp is something that is provided by a scout, and that's a very good reason for you if your goal is to go doctor, combat medic, or even bioengineer up into the medical tree. It's a good idea to also have scout, because you can get camps. And at the lower levels, if you're going to be playing the character instead of just grinding through this entire tree just to get up to the top, if you're going to be playing the medic, then you can harvest organic resources from Scout and use that as your organic component for crafting your medicines. So when you are in a camp or you are in a medical facility, and there are different grades. So an outpost has a different kind of medical facility than a major city like this does. Player cities have a different medical facility. But in order to do something with damage, you need to be in a camp or in a medical facility. You can apply the 2 healing damages or the damage types wherever you are. So you don't have to be anywhere special. It's not important and it doesn't matter. And when you... Not what I wanted. When you do a wound, that will remove the wounds from the red and the green, but an entertainer has to remove the blue and the battle fatigue. Battle fatigue is like shell shock, is how the original devs foresaw that mechanic working. So when you hit either of your wound macros, it will reduce the number on these wound stats. If we look over here, my health is 750 out of 750. But if I were doing something such as, I wonder if I have... Tumble to kneeling. Nope, can't do that. Need to be over here. Combat. Tumble to kneeling. And then other, let's find stand. So, Captain Kirk kind of move. So now you can see my action bar has gone down, and I'm now at 357 out of 735. Now I can start tending damage, and now the difference between healing and tending is tending does not use medicine, but it does increase your mind wounds and your battle fatigue. So right now, I'm healing myself, and you saw that little thing drop down from above my head. So 1, 20, 22, and 29. So now that's at 31, 1, 25, and 27. So that was 22, and it went up to 25. So I'm incurring mind wounds, and I'm burning through mind like there's no tomorrow. But my action is now fully healed, so I can cancel that. Now the difference... Just make sure that was off. Now come back over here. Well, let's get rid of that. Okay, so now if I use heal damage in a macro, what heal damage does is it actually uses medicine that's in my inventory. So I have a number of Stimpack Bs, and then I've got 3 Cs. So I crafted them incorrectly and made them too high to use. So when I hit this macro, and you saw the little thing drop down, my action went up a very large amount, and my mind barely moved back. So it does take a little bit of mind, but nowhere near as much. And you saw the little thing come down. That indicates that I'm receiving health. Now my action is fully healed, and my mind, there's nothing that a medic can do to help increase your mind. I believe a combat medic has a Stimpack that can heal mind. Now, my mind is slowly increasing, but if I sit down and then come back over here to mind, you can see that it is moving much, much faster now. And this will be fully back up in no time. So the difference is tending does not require medicine, but gives you a negative effect and uses a lot of your mind bar. If you use heal damage, you will not incur any wounds or battle fatigue. Your mind will barely be affected, but it requires that you have medicine in your inventory. Now we're actually going to go over the macros in the separate video, like I pointed out in the beginning of this video. In fact, how long has it been since we started? We're coming up on 27 minutes. So I think this will be a good point to end the video. And then we will pick up next time with where you start working on with your skills. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can keep up with all of the videos I'm going to be putting out. I will be covering videos, tutorials, and walkthroughs on nearly all of the professions. So go ahead and hit the subscribe. Hit like if you got dizzy, and have a nice day.